Okay, so in this video, we're going to discuss the PCR patient registration, the check-in, and the check-out process. This will be a more in-depth interactive video, so hang in here with me for this one. So the patient care representatives, or the PCRs, they're the ones that are largely responsible for patient registration, check-in, check-outs, accepting payments, scheduling, kind of across the agency. And so these procedures are outlined here. Patient registration, I mean, yes, it changes, but the overall process and workflow is rather identical. So all front desk policy and procedure will still be followed. The PCRs will make contact with the patient over the phone or in person, depending on the circumstance, to collect the patient's email address or phone number. So this, remember, is for registration. So these are for patients that have never been a patient of Samuel Rogers. Next up, using DocuSign, and we'll go over this, the PCR will send to the patient's email address the following documents. A telehealth BH patient registration. Remember, I'm talking specifically now about patient registration. However, this just may be a general registration form. Behavioral health will also have a telemental health assessment packet that will include the PHQ-9, the GID, and the CSSRS to assess for suicidality since the most recent visit. A telehealth consent form, which is a part of the patient registration. However, we will have some patients that are new to telemedicine that don't have a telehealth consent form, at which point in time, this form will need to be sent individually to that person. Also, a release of information for the emergency contact. All of our telehealth patients must have an emergency contact on file, and we want a formal release of information to contact that person in case of emergency. As far as behavioral health goes, one of our more common emergencies, and hopefully they're few and very far in between, is going to be suicidality of a patient. So we want to be sure that we have that contact on file to contact that emergency contact in case of those situations. PCRs, you'll need to be sure to explain to that patient that the ROI in that packet is for the emergency contact and what exactly it is there for, because there may be some confusion as to why we're asking that that be filled out. We would also want the patient to notify that emergency contact that we will be contacting them, and it is a good idea for that patient to let that emergency contact know when those appointments are, just so that contact can be mindful of their phone during those times. So upon return of the telemental health assessment packet, the PCR will review that CSSRS, because if there is a positive score, and we'll cover more about what that positive score is in the suicidality video procedure, because if it's a positive, I mean, we're not going to be doing teletherapy that visit. They will have to come in rather for an in-person intake to complete the CSSRS and meet with the provider to see if telemedicine is a good fit, can we proceed, or if a different level of care is needed. The PCR then will schedule either the telemental health intake or the in-person intake session for the patient. So before we get into uploading the telemedicine consent form, I want to jump into DocuSign, show you what those packets look like, and then how to send those out. So I'm going to go ahead and jump over here to DocuSign. If you have not already received access to it, you should be receiving access to it. If not, get with your immediate supervisor. So when you sign into DocuSign, you'll be actually taken to the home page, which looks just like this. You will hit New, and then you will send an envelope. From the Send an Envelope screen, we're going to use a template. And if you remember, let me scroll back up. Here's what we're going to be sending for those patient registrations. Sorry, slow that down so you can see it. Okay, so we're going to look in here for the, let's see, you'll be looking over here actually, behavioral health. Tele-BH patient registration. Okay, and we'll pick the one for an adult here. Here we go. An adult. What else do we need? We need the telemental health assessment packet. So the telemental health assessment packet is still located in here, and then it's going to be in the assessments right here. And Tele-BH assessment packet, English. Now, because this is a brand new patient, right, we're not going to have to go through and search individually for that telehealth consent form or that ROI, because it's actually inside of our packet already. So once we have those selected, we can see what we have selected right here. We're going to hit Add Selected. Okay, and here are all the templates that are in here. So what we would do next in another video is we would go through and edit these recipients here. We would add in their first and last name, their email address, and change anything from needs to sign to receives a copy only. So we'll go over these in a different section, but that is how you load the documents into DocuSign. Okay, so where are we at next? We explain how to upload those. And oh yes, okay. So uploading the telemedicine consent form. So PCRs, you already have your procedure for how to upload those documents into Athena. However, I do want to make mention that the telemedicine consent form goes into a separate section. So you'll access DocuSign, you'll click on Manage once you receive these documents back, and then you're going to pull out separately as a PDF that telemedicine consent form. And again, feel free to pause these videos as you're scrolling through. I'm not going to go over step by step, so do read these, okay? What you're going to do is put over from your email, you click the download icon, you ensure that you're downloading the PDFs as a separate one, and then it'll pull over as a compressed file when you'll drag that teleconsent form to your desktop, because you will not be able to upload directly from that compressed file into the Athena's upload feature. So once you have the telehealth consent form on the desktop, you're going to access the location in the client's demographics section, and you're going to drag that consent form into there, and then you're going to do the following. You're going to select the document type as an admin and a consent, and the label as a teleconsent form, and then you'll upload it. It'll just be that simple. Okay, so next up is the patient check-in. So below the processes for the PCRs and the providers for check-in. We'll go over the PCRs first and then the providers next. So PCRs, good news, not much is really changing. I mean, yes, the client's not in the office in front of you. They're at their home or Starbucks if they want to, I guess, although that is not recommended, having their appointment. So what you're going to be doing is prior to the appointment, the PCR will use DocuSign to send the TeleBH assessment packet over to that client's email address for it to be completed. That packet again includes the PHQ-9, the GAD-7, and the CSSRS. In addition, prior to the appointment, the PCR will contact the patient by phone to collect the credit or debit card payment for the visit if there is one to be collected. At that time, the PCR should also remind the patient that the mental health assessment packet is to be completed before the visit. This is very important, especially when it comes to that suicidality screening. We want that done ahead of time because we need to know if that patient has had any degree of suicidality between their previous visit and this current visit. The PCR then will review that CSSRS, and should it be positive, the telemental health session will not occur, and an in-person session will need to be scheduled, and the PCR will handle that scheduling. Should the patient be in emergent need, the PCR should consult with the patient's provider and follow their recommendations. Providers, I'm going to provide you some protocols for this in the suicidality procedure video. Okay, provider check-in. Providers, there's not a lot that you're going to do for this check-in, just like there's not a lot that you do for check-ins now. Some things to note though, providers, you will be receiving a copy of that telemental health assessment packet so you can review the PHQ-9, the GAD-7, and that CSSRS. Once the packet has been received and reviewed by you, you will then send out the link via doxy.me to that person. And I'll show you how to do that here in just a second as well. Actually, we'll do that now because there's different ways to send that out. So let me open up a new tab here and go to Doxy. Okay, so this is your Doxy home screen. Your camera will appear, mine is not because it's being used right now by this program. So to send the link, you have a number of different options. In general, this is what you're going to do. You send it out from right here, and you're going to hit copy this link. Just go ahead and copy the link every time you get in here because there's a good chance you're going to need it. Now, providers, you have many different ways to send out this link. So here's one way. You can send it out via the email button. So first you're going to select that the invite via button next to your room link, and you're going to choose email and then select send from doxy.me. You're going to access the client's quick view in Athena, locate the email address, and type it into that patient email box, and then you're going to click send message. So here's what that looks like. You'll come over here, invite via, email, send from doxy.me, and then none of this is editable with the exception of the email address. So you'll type in the client's email address right there, and then you'll hit send message. Now I made a note in here for you. If for whatever reason you wanted to send out that email link, but also wanted to edit that message, right? Because you wanted to tell that person something special about the session or want them to be prepared for something, you're going to have to send out that link differently. And let me show you how to do that. This is, again, it's going to leverage that do not reply option from Outlook. So you're going to come back over to Doxy, you're going to hit copy link, invite via, email, and you're going to use my default email client, and you're going to hit start composing email. What will happen is you'll get a pop-up, and again, you're going to want this to come from that do not reply email. So you're going to come over here, hit do not reply, and now you can edit that message. Here is the link right here. That link should be clickable, but for whatever reason you're doubting it, yep, there you go. It's clickable. Now you can edit the message and then send it off to the client from our Rogers do not reply email address. Okay, so that's the first way you can send out your link. The next way you can send out the link is going to be by calendar invite. So providers, here's my thing with this calendar invite. It's not going to be very helpful for your sessions that are immediately happening. This is going to be something that you're going to want to do if you know you have a recurring appointment, or you simply just want to send out a calendar reminder over to the patient so it's actually on their calendar. So what you're going to do for that is you're going to click the copy button next to your link to save that invite link. You're going to select the invite via button next to your link and choose calendar. You're going to select the date and time of the client's appointment, ensuring that your doxy.me room is selected. You should only be able to see your room unless you have other privileges. You're going to click add to calendar and select Outlook. Once that's appeared, you'll get a download button that'll pop up. You'll have a calendar invite and Outlook. You need to add then your client as an invitee to that meeting. In here, you can edit anything else you would in a meeting. You can make it recurring. You can make it not recurring, a one-time event. And then you're going to paste, see my little spelling error here. You're going to paste the room link in your email's body and include any other message you'd like, and then send the invitation. Please note that this is a calendar option. It's great for getting future appointments onto your client's calendars. However, it will display your Rogers email address and your Rogers phone number. So if you're not wanting your client to have access to that degree of information about you, then you're not going to want to pick this option. So what I want to do now is go ahead and walk you through that calendar process. So you come over here to your doxy.me room, you'll hit copy, invite via, select calendar, edit the date and time here, make sure you have the room selected. Here's this note, you can edit this, however, my recommendation is just edit it inside of Outlook. Outlook's actually going to cut off a portion of this. Add to calendar, select Outlook. You'll notice that there was a download right here. Click that download one time, don't double click it. Once that happens, it's going to be opening up a new window for you. Eventually. Check my Outlook over here to see what it's at. Oh, here it is. Okay. Didn't get pulled over. So this is what you see on one of your monitors. You notice that right here in the location, it does have your room address. If you notice that I mentioned, it cut off a lot of that message. So in here, you could type whatever you need to, and because we copied that link, you can paste your link in there. Now you need to add invitees to the meeting. So here you could put in the client. If you needed an interpreter, one of our external interpreters to be there, you could also add them to that meeting. If you needed your PCR on a webcam to do something, you could also add them into here. Your doxy.me clinical account will allow you up to 10 people simultaneously on one call. Once you have this arranged, you can edit any features you want in terms of start, stop time, reoccurring. Do you want response options? You know, as normal for a meeting in Outlook, you could arrange it. and then you would just hit send meeting once you're done. Okay, so what's next, guys? We have another option for notifying our clients on the provider end. Text message is going to be the next one. This is going to be a pretty popular one. So this is really easy. You're going to go to that select invite via button again. You're going to choose text message, access the client's quick view in Athena. You're going to locate their phone number, put it into the box, and then click send message. So here's what that looks like. Come over here. Pardon me. Come over here. Invite via text message. Type their phone number in right here. Make sure you have the right room selected. You will not be able to edit this text message from the screen. There is an option for it in your settings in Doxy if you want to change what that looks like. But you'll stick it in here and then you'll just hit send message. Pretty easy. Okay. So providers, that is it for your end. As far as the check-in goes, I guess. Check out, you're going to proceed as normal. You're going to inform the PCR, whether by email or through Doxy, that the person is ready to check out. One of the cool features that we're going to be playing around with is getting the PCR's webcam. So that way you can actually have the PCR join the call, but put the client back in the waiting room, and that way the PCR can communicate this way with the client to get them checked out and set up for that next appointment. However, you can pretty much end the call at this point, and the PCR then will reach back out to the client to get their next appointment set up per your recommendations. So PCR procedure for the checkout. All current front desk policy procedure is to be followed. The PCR will be notified by the provider that the session has ended, and this can be done by doxy.me, email, Athena text, or in person. The PCR should also be monitoring your schedule to see when the person has actually checked out of your room when the encounter is closed. The PCR will then make contact with the patient to schedule their next telehealth appointment. And then the PCR, when scheduling the patient's next appointment, will choose one of the telehealth visit types. That bullet point is important for all of us. When our quality team is pulling out the data for this, they have a number of ways to do it, but this telehealth visit type is going to be critical to our success there. So PCRs, or any provider that's making their own appointments, please pick the telehealth visit type most appropriate to your encounter. Providers, I actually already went over this, but you'll end the session with the patient. You can notify the PCR by email, Athena text, in person, whatever you need, or via the Doxy integration. Eventually, we'll get more training out to you all around how to do that. I believe Ryan has already made a Doxy.me playlist that you can click the link in this YouTube channel actually, and be taken directly to it. All right. Long video, but we are done now with the check-in, check-out, and registration process. We are going to move into our next video, which is the DocuSign recipients roles. This is more informative, but it's important for you all to know that we'll be in DocuSign sending out documents, what these roles are and why they are so important.